welcome to Little Side Note with Maya. And
When
so today we're gonna talk about self love.
I think we all kind of have like a hard time talking about self-love, I would say. It's not very promoted.
It is not. I honestly did not know self love existed until I went off to college and was like in it for a good year or so ish.
Yeah.
Like it was when it was getting popular.
I feel a lot more confident now when I was back in high school. I've always felt like there's some stuff that you like kind of have to do for people instead of like for yourself, or there's a thing where you kind of have like a sense of purpose for someone or something instead of like for yourself. So yeah, we should talk about like our journey, from being this insecure little kid. I mean, we're still insecure now, but like I bet that we have much more confidence.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I do think that, well, self love here isn't real in Campbell. In Bun. I'm trying to.
I think it's everywhere in Campbell, not just.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we don't live in the province. We don't know. Okay, so it's like, it's not promoted. We're often being pressured to like, either one up someone or like be as good as them, which is still messed up because the only person that you should be better than is yourself before. But the culture here is different, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of had like competition. Not necessarily competition, it's more like we've been taught to kind of compare ourselves to other people. You always hear our parents saying something like, oh, មើលកូនគេអ្នកនេះមើលកូនគេម្នាក់នោះគេស្អាតគេហ៊ានប្រកែ blah 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 blah. And it stems like it gives us like insecurity.
It's like they think comparing us will give us the initiative to go further, but they don't consider that it might be a backlash where we feel so insecure. We're like, what's the point in even trying then if I'm never gonna be as good as them?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, tough love is like, I would say okay, but I feel like they kind of tend to overuse it.
I feel like tough love is regular love here. There's no in between. It's so rare to find people who have really super duper like not caring in a sense like, oh, getting you food and all that stuff. Of course all our parents do that. It's more like caring in a sense of emotional care, like telling them not to study too hard, giving them some space, having boundaries. I don't know about you, but I personally have tried talking to my parents about boundaries, and they're like, boundaries, I mean, what the heck is it?
You're more brave than I am. I don't even like kind of talk to them about anything in general. Like, I've always had this idea at the back of my head, like no matter what I say, good or bad, they would always nitpick it and it will be against me.
Yeah, I do have that feeling, but after I went off to college, I realized that if I don't do anything, like at all, if I don't even try to prove my point, there's not going to be any change, and I don't want this continuation of somewhat toxic behavior in my family to go on. So I confront them. Most of the time I get emotional. I cannot tell you how many times I've broken down in front of my parents because I'm trying to explain my point and they don't get it. But after I've calmed down, like in a sense they do get it, like some fraction of it, but not entirely. And I can't blame them either because, well, they're not used to this Western culture mindset.
I broke down once, and not gonna happen again. Mine. No, that oh god no. But I mean, maybe it's just me. But once I moved out from Campbell to abroad, like even temporary, as a student here, I definitely am more confident. I would say like that's like I'm not even. I mean, I still have my insecurities, right? But I know what I'm capable of and what I am. And maybe it helps that I'm surrounded by people who understands as well. Because I'm pretty sure if I go back to Campbell, then probably they're gonna like shred me alive.
Yeah, I get you on that because I do feel like there's this sense of pressure when I'm in Campbell, where I'm constantly worried about people's opinion that I don't behave like myself. This brings back memories of, I went to that part-time school, ACE, and then we did discuss this in our Discord with MC. She also had this pressure where, when you're in uniform and you go to that school and you're being mixed with people from government school or sometimes people from other private schools, they have this perception of you just because you're going to some like private school, which sometimes are valid but sometimes aren't, but they don't take the time to get to know you. They just assume you as like the bad person of the group or like this materialistic person. I was to a point where I was scared to wear a uniform to that part-time school. So like we finished classes at like 4, right?
Yeah.
And ACE would generally start at like 5 or 5:30, I forgot. And I would always be the one out the door. You know this. I have a habit of rushing out the classroom. I'm the first one out all the time because I wanted to make it. I wanted to have enough time to get home, change, and then go to school because I don't want to feel judged. Even though they never verbally disclosed it, some of them did, some of them didn't. I just felt the glare.
It's funny because I had a different experience when I went to ASE. I think it's more because I went during the summer. It felt more like a summer school for me than an actual like tuition place. And I mean, I told them that we were from that school, but I never had a uniform on me because we were in summer, right? And they treated me like differently. Like they asked me like, "Oh, you're from that school. Oh, how is it?" Like, they were very, very friendly towards me.
I think it depends on the class too. Like, there are so many people going to ACE, so depends on the people you're surrounded with. For me, it's all the people who were somewhat in the same grade or in the same school, in the same government school. They take their classes with their friends, and I just so happen to be in that class. So it's like different, different situations.
Yeah.
But overall, when I came to the US, I began to feel more comfortable in my own skin. Like we in our high school, we weren't allowed to wear makeup or dye our hair or like paint our nails, so self-expression was quite limited.
Yeah.
And then when we were done, it was like just doors open of anything, any possibility. And then I wasn't sure who I was back then. So after meeting some friends that introduced me to other stuff like makeup and like caring for yourself physically, it's I don't know about you, but sometimes when you're not feeling all that great, but when you put like you dress up, you're getting yourself together, it gives a different vibe entirely. And sometimes it can boost you up so much.
It's like I had like long hair for a long time. I mean, it was in a ponytail, but then I chopped my hair off here. My parents don't know about it. I mean, but I looked back in all my pictures or videos and I cringed so hard because I knew that it wasn't me, Like I feel so much better now. Like I feel like I'm in my own skin, and like I don't know how I'm gonna cope when I have to go back home.
Mm. Oh, dude, I gotta say, one thing I really miss is going to class in PJs and walking out in PJs and giving no care. And then when I'm here, if I dare to leave my room with PJs on and go downstairs,
Mm.
my mom would throw a huge fit like, you cannot dress like that here. And I'm like, oh dear Lord, the beauty standards here might kill me.
I'm actually the opposite of you. I always feel like whenever I go out, I always have something to prove.
Mm.
That's why I try. No, maybe it's because I missed out on how I wanted to dress back in high school.
Mm.
So now that I get the opportunity to buy clothes for myself and dress the way I want, I kind of always want to like to show off my outfit, I would say.
Okay, I get that now, but before I was like, oh, I want to look nice, but I know people will tease me, and I don't want to be in a position where people tease me, even though it's like they don't intend anything of it. I don't feel great about it. Hella introverted. So, so I would just like dress the bare minimum and then be okay with it. But now, after, I don't know, I guess self-reflection and reading random self-help books, a lot of random TikTok videos. It made me feel better into dressing the way I dress, like I want to. Because Campbell here, there's only one fixed style for girls. You gotta be, you gotta like pretty and girly. Where if you have a different style, like even like I tried edgy once, and then my mom was like, you look like what Net say.
Dude, my mom literally say that I dress like a gangster, and I'm like, no mom, it's just normal t-shirt and pants. What do you mean by gangster?
Exactly. It's hard to explain different styles. Like like a few weeks ago, my mom actually said, I don't get why you dress not that, like, you're not on top of trends. When I was your age, ask your dad. I was like always on top of trends, and I'm like, Mom, I just have a different style from you. And then my dad goes making fun of me like, yeah, a style that's out of date. And I'm like, I really want to scream, but then like, you ignorant people.
It's so true though. Why do parents always think like about the latest trend? Like, I feel like the latest trend is something they think is the latest trend, but it's not really.
Yeah, dude, I'm still questioning if my dad really uses iPhone to the optimum level.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, dude. I applaud him that he knows how to like print through Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. That's the only thing that I'm like.
I thought he doesn't even know how to use AirDrop.
No, he knows how to use AirDrop.
Oh,
He just
thank God.
his brain can't process between the difference of Android and iPhone sometimes.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I always tell my mom to buy an iPhone, because once like she switches the between Android and iPhone, it's no.
My dad got
Disaster.
my mom the Samsung flip phone
Oh.
for their anniversary, and it's been a constant strain on my mom trying to navigate it, and then she doesn't know how to navigate it, and then she comes to me and I'm like, I've never used Android. Don't ask me. Oh wait, okay, sidetracking.
Okay.
Is there a thing in Aussie where if people use Android and people use iPhones, like there's this like invisible like barrier-ish kind of thing?
I don't think so, because most of our friends uses iPhone, but then occasionally when there's someone in a group that uses an Android, and then we take pictures and airdrop each other, the guy with the Android is kind of like left out. And then we're like, it's fine, we'll send you through Messenger or something. But then in my head, I'm like, I don't think he will get good quality photos, because we can't airdrop it to him.
Yeah. Oh, actually, there was a website I saw on TikTok. I forgot if I noted it down or not. Like, it works just like AirDrop, but it goes across different platforms.
Okay,
So,
I see.
yeah, if I could find it, I'll send it to you so that the guy doesn't feel left out. But I do think that at one point in the US, there was like this meme that was like, oh, like Apple users are elite, Samsung users are like, eh.
I think with me, because I take an IT major, I think a bit discrimination with Windows and Mac, because Windows is more, no, Mac is more limited because of how their apps and like hardware and things work, because they're like privacy, you know. But then with Linux and Windows, it's more flexible because they can, you know, their security is not top notch.
Okay, noted. FBI will go to your house, and then, well, I guess if we don't see you for 3 days, I'll know what happened.
Oh, I hear an ambulance downstairs.
Ooh, don't even get me started. My house is. Oh, I hear it too.
Yeah.
My house is like right next to the hospital, so like I hear sirens every day. And since COVID here is getting really bad, it's like such like an anxiety for me. I keep hearing these sirens. It's crazy. I don't know. Everyone stay safe. Please get vaccinated. Wear a mask.
We sidetracking so much.
I really want to go get boba again, so please stay safe.
Yeah. I mean, I went through it like for a whole year in Australia, so I definitely think you guys are okay. We'll be okay. And because vaccines are rolling out as well, so yeah.
I have to leave in like 2 to 3 months. You think I'll survive? Dude, I should be savoring all of the good food here, like all the street food and the bông tia con, sat ang, chiên. I should be savoring all this stuff. Like, there is an alternative in the US because I live like right next to Cambodia town, but it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same.
It doesn't taste the same. Like there's like 2 blocks from my house, there's a place that they sell the gok chu. And I just feel like the jellies aren't right, the syrup isn't right. It doesn't taste the same. It's so funny.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, I want to talk about the difference between high school and now, like my level of confidence and how it made me confident. Like, you know, I dress like super masculine, I would say. So whenever when I was in high school, if I liked anything feminine, like pink or something like that, my sexuality would always be questioned. I don't know why they like to associate feminine stuff with like gender, I guess. But then I always try to avoid doing anything super feminine.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, and because people would always be like, "Oh, are you straight now?" Like, no, dude. Like, what? And then it gets kind of annoying for me.
Yeah.
And then, like, if I do something feminine, I always had like to prove myself afterwards. Like, they think I'm not as like strong or not as, you know, like they don't. It's hard to say.
They question your sexuality a bit.
It's more like they see me as a guy in the beginning, but then when they actually see me do feminine shit, they're like, "Oh, you're not as strong anymore. You're not as like boyish anymore." But but now, like you guys like bought me like a pink blazer, and then I'm like, "Oh yes, thank you very much. I've been looking for it." And then it gives me like Harry Styles like vibe.
Yeah.
And I like feel confident in it because like I'm never allowed to like pink. So now that I'm confident in it, like, you know, whatever, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, first off, we started side note.
Mm.
We started out like, oh, okay, Win was talking about how she likes pink flamingos,
Yeah.
and then you guys also had a conversation where you were talking about suits, like a matching suit, and I was like, dude, just get her a flamingo blazer. And then we couldn't find a flamingo blazer, and we were like, okay, we'll just settle for pink blazer. And then we found it, and then we were looking for the size, and then you found that. I was like so pissed.
It's okay. I liked it.
Glad that you do.
Yeah, I like pastel colors. Pastel.
Oh, same.
Pastel.
Pastel.
Okay.
Pastel. Same. I'm a huge fan of pastel. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I definitely not radiate, I would say, but like I'm much more confident now. Like as you can see, like when I did our first video, I was like looking at myself like, oh my god, I look so good.
Yes. At one point I'm like, oh my gosh, she is lost in her own beauty right now.
Yeah. So how about you? When did you kind of like peaked?
I think I never noticed it until the pandemic, because had a lot more time to myself. I had more time to do a lot of stuff that I wanted to do. I wasn't stuck with a 4-hour drive daily anymore. So I realized that like my way of giving self-love was I'm appreciating myself more. Like before I was like constantly just going about my day, trying to get the grind on, finishing it, doing the most, getting classes, going to classes, making time for friends because I do value them, and like rushing between meals because I of course always take too many classes. Stupid me. But after I got to cool down during the pandemic, I realized I had so many negative projections of myself before I came to uni. Granted, the first semester wasn't great because I missed out on some stuff, but I realized that, okay, I'm amazed at myself that I've come so far. I didn't drop out of college. I pushed through. And heck, I met so many amazing people that because I had such a limited time. Some semesters I would do 2 to 3 part-time jobs at the same time, along with over credit, so taking more classes than you're allowed to. So I would literally have to like schedule everything in a sense that, okay, I'm making sure I meet at least one friend in each class, so this maximizes my learning time, my ability to like go to classes because I have someone there, and I would also be spending time with my friends. And then if I could not, and then at work I would also like try to see if I have breaks around the same time as them. And then by the time that I'm done with work and all that stuff, like every Friday evening is like my time. I've told my brother that I'm not gonna do anything. Friday evening I would be like home until like nighttime 10 or something, because Friday is my food exploration day. I'm so blessed to find a group of friends that are foodies and love exploring as well. So Friday nights always go to a new place or an old restaurant or someone's place to chill, eat together, just spend time together. That was my routine.
I think another key to like self-love as well is the ability to say no, and the ability to tell yourself that taking time off is not selfish.
Yeah. So I also had that scheduled. On the weekends, my friends will not text me to go hang out because they know it's a long drive. Even though there's no traffic, it's still a good 40-minute drive from my place to their place. So they know that, they'll call me, but they'll expect a no coming from me. So it's like, it's just my time to rest up. My introverted energy need to recharge. I would only be down for
Yeah, I used to have like a hard time kind of maintaining my own emotions and with helping people. I've
Mhm.
always felt like I had to put people first. Like, I like helping people, but eventually it got like super exhausting because
Yeah.
humans can only have like certain capacity.
Yeah.
And then it, but then it got worse because I beat myself up over the fact that I'm not able to help because I'm super exhausted. And then it became worse because I felt like a super bad friend or something like that. But now I realize that you can't keep giving and giving and giving and giving.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have like a clear boundary of like what's what can I give and how much I'm supposed to like take care of myself.
Yeah.
So if I'm not into that shit, like if I keep telling you what to do and then you're like not listening to me, and then that I feel like that's pretty much a waste of my time. Like, why would I emotionally invest in something for you when
Yeah.
you're not helping yourself, I would say.
See, yeah, like after you, like I actually thought about this last night actually. Like after you guys, which were like friends that were due to proximity at first, but then I grew to like become really close to. When I went to college, it's like different, you know, it's entirely different. You only meet a person for a good 30-40 minutes or sometimes an hour or two, and then that's it. You don't, like, unless you are trying to connect, trying to make friends, it won't happen. For me, I realized that all the close friends that I made these past few years, although there isn't a lot, like 8 people I'd say, I've made an effort to like get to know them. Yes, of course, there's always the possibility where you only know them for a semester, and then when you're done with your classes, you're like, oh, I don't know you anymore. But the only reason that they stayed close friends was because at some point when I first started to get to know them, they did something for me that I was not expecting. Like, it was far and beyond something I would expect a friend that's like hey would do. Like, for instance, one of my close friends right now, when I first met her, it was like during the first semester of sophomore year. And we somehow had classes together, and we saw each other every day for a good 5 days a week. So I was like, okay, yeah. And then we recognized each other in the second week, like, oh wait, we have classes together. And we started talking. We bonded on Chinese drama. We were watching the same Chinese drama, you know. It was Meteor Garden of all dramas. We were talking shit about Dao Ming Si and all that stuff. And we connected, and of course I vibe with her, but I never expected to like be close friends with her until one day. So I had this guitar recital during that semester too. I had to go back to campus and stay until like 8-9 p.m. Then I have to come back and write a paper on it. And because of complication on transportation, I didn't have a car. My brother took my car. So she offered to drive me home and then come back to school because she stays in dorms. So she literally, at 9 p.m. at night, she drove me out 40 minutes, dropped me off, and I felt so bad. I'm like, okay, dude, I'm buying you boba. We grabbed boba for a bit, and then she was back on her way back to the same place she started. Like, she didn't have to go out of her way so much for me, but she did. And I realized eventually that all the friends that I've made in college, at some point they proved themselves through that extreme situation. That's when I decided I'm gonna do my best to be there for them and do something for them. It's what you said, you can't always give. It's a give and take. So after I've taken something, I realized I should give to them too.
Yeah. Like, say you're a good person, right? You acknowledge that the person's giving you something, and in return you don't take advantage of that. Most people, when you give them, when you're trying to help them, they would come to ask for more. And that's disaster. Because once you stop giving them, they'll be like, you're not useful to me anymore. So yes, you're a good person for acknowledging that, you know.
I feel so moved. Oh, a perp. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a good person. I'm average, because there are some bad stuff we do.
I mean, at least, I mean, you know what's going on. Like, you know what's. You're always trying to be better. And I think that's good.
I think that's a form of self-love too, because I eventually learned, because not being around my family was kind of nice. There's no one comparing me to like, you should have been like this and this. Of course they do voice their opinions through the phone, but it's not as often because I don't see them every day. So having that time to like really just reflect on myself was like, that was kind of my peak, where I know I have clear boundaries now. What I prioritize, who I prioritize, what I'm gonna do, and why I'm doing it. So that's kind of hard to define, honestly, when you're still lost in your life. I'm still lost in my life.
I am so, but I definitely feel content of where I am.
Exactly.
I'm comfortable.
Yeah, dude, and I realize we are so blessed to be able to feel content with who we are. A lot of people aren't. And they're striving for change. They're trying to find the satisfaction that we have. Like, we both admit we're not the best at anything, but we're content and happy with who we are today. And that's hard to get there. And that's a form of like that. In a way, that's the type of self-love that I really like.
Definitely. I think we will definitely go up. Like, I mean, we say it's our peak, but I definitely think it's not really our peak. It's just the beginning of it.
Yeah, for now it's the peak, because dude, we've only lived for like two decades. We don't know. But I think we'll see. But a lot of people do say your 20s are the most valuable time of your life, because you're young enough to explore, you're young enough to do anything.
I don't know, I feel old already.
Oh, don't worry, I feel old too.
Is it because of us being super comfortable? Because I feel like a lot of people strive for that, and then now that we're comfortable, we feel like we can just stay here for a long while.
For me, I'm happy for being comfortable, but at the same time, there's also a little piece of me like, I feel like I should do something right now. Try something new, explore something in small steps, small ways, like exploring new food, new culture, new language, new hobby. Like, I feel like we're growing in that aspect as well. So in a way, we're not stagnant. We're not trying to develop. We're not stopping change. We are changing, but in smaller, minuscule steps.
I think since we sidetrack so much, I think we can give them a little longer of an episode.
Go for it.
I think I don't know why, but I don't feel as sad as I used to be. Like, okay, when I was in high school, I felt like my life was so miserable.
Okay, I agree. I felt that.
But now, I don't know if it's because my relationship is good, my friendship is good, my life is good. I looked at my emo self back in high school, I'm like, what? You know?
I wouldn't say I was emo back in high school. I feel like, I don't know what your perception of me, but I have been told from a few friends that my instant reaction is just smile. I seem pretty giddy. In high school, like, I can't say I'm depressed or anything, because I wasn't, but I do admit that I have a lot more negative thoughts than a regular person should. Like, I had so many self-doubts, and I had so many unanswered questions, and I assumed the worst of it. just because I didn't want to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have those, I wouldn't say stupid because that's offensive. I used to have bad, really, really, really bad thoughts. I mean, I wouldn't say that I was depressed as well, because I feel like mental health, I think you should be diagnosed with instead of just tossing it around. But yeah, I was in a really, really bad place. Like, not many people know about it, because, like, back I was in high school, was like this glowing, smiling child. But
your reaction and every response is always big ass smile.
I think in a way it's like a defense mechanism.
Yeah, I could see that happening, honestly.
Yeah.
I was having this idea of talking about self-help just because I'm reading this book called Good Vibes, Good Life. And yes, TikTok recommended. And yes, it has manifestations in the first quarter of the book, which I was very skeptical of. But towards the middle where I am right now, it does talk about these things where surround yourself with good people, surround yourself with the same energy that you want to be, and cut off toxic people. And I felt that, because in a way, although leaving high school was not a choice, it was just time. We did say goodbye to a lot of people. I wouldn't say they were toxic, but maybe we just didn't vibe with them as well. So, yeah.
I mean, it's really, a class full of 30 people wouldn't get along that well, I would say. Not necessarily not get along. I feel like we're just full of different personalities.
Yeah.
It's not everybody's fault.
Yeah, that's true. And I only just found out that apparently the guy side had a lot more bullying than we did, which, do a lot more. I only just found out. Because I had this talk with our friend in New Zealand, and it was a good 7-hour talk, and he explained his trauma from 7th to 9th grade. He didn't stay from like 10th to 12, so I can't imagine how much worse it got. He only explained to me the brief information that he got from his friends that stayed from 10 to 12, which I was like, whoa, and
then the boys call us drama queens.
I know, right? Okay, that's the thing. They have this thing where if you're a tattler, you're gonna get hated even more. But you can't diss a leader, and if the leader discriminates you can't do anything but accept it and suck it up.
It's so stupid, right? Why would there be a hierarchy in high school?
I don't know, dude. That's a weird thing that I still don't get. And it's a class full of boys.
Yeah.
Too.
I think it's because people want to be alpha.
Oh, stupid alphas.
See, they don't love themselves enough to be confident in who they are. Instead, they resort to bullying.
They need
show dominance.
They need external reassurance and attention.
That's also toxic masculinity.
Yeah. Dude, Campbell is filled with toxic masculinity, though.
I know, right?
The only thing that I would say I give credit for Campbell people is that the wife is and let's be real, it's always the wife that's the head of the family. Although everyone else openly says the guy is the head of the family, every single person knows the wife's handling the money, the wife's actually making the decisions.
The wife is the voice of reason.
Yes, exactly. People won't acknowledge it, but it's just fact here. And people, yes, they would joke oh, mola, we climb a pona, but who doesn't?
Right, I know someone that is kind of when he's outside and he's with his friends, he would talk trash about his wife, just to assert dominance, saying that he's the head of the family. But then, in actual reality, he's actually really scared of his wife. And
Like,
I think
and
that happens a lot in Campbell.
I feel like that is such a huge disrespect to them. I'm probably biased because I'm a woman and I'm closer to my mom than my dad, and I see the toxic masculinity within. So it's more like,
I don't know,
without,
like, you know, in stories or whatever, when you're a girl who is like dressing up masculine, people would say, oh, you have more guy friends than girlfriends because there's no more drama. But I don't know, all my friends are girls. Like, if I talk to a guy, I just feel like I want to punch them if there's something wrong.
This reminds me of one of my, I wouldn't say guy friend, we were just forced to be friends because I'm friends with his sister. So that was during the time where, you know, we were stirring up news about the government releasing official news that you cannot wear anything, girls cannot wear strapless and shorts. In Cambo, they were debating about it, and I was like, oh. And then he came in and say, oh, Maya cannot wear a shorts anymore. That's gonna be hard because, well, summertime I tend to wear shorts, and I didn't, at the time I was comfortable with myself, so I didn't censor myself like, oh, I need to wear long pants with them anymore. I just wear whatever. And I didn't realize that he noticed, and the way that he said it made me feel really really angry that I really want to punch him.
Even when you said it, it sounds like your whole entire outfit is based on wearing shorts and to be like revealing.
Yeah, this is why I had such a problem with wearing whatever I liked in the beginning, because most of the time the stuff that I like isn't necessarily approved of in traditional culture. Like, I like wearing short skirts because like, oh, it helps make my figure look better. But here, if you wear something too short, it's like how Americans call like people who wear short, high heels like a slut. It's somewhat the same thing. It's just they don't say you're a slut. They just eye you up and down. I don't like that, and I really expected them to grow out of these stupid kind of thinking, I guess, because they've been exposed to a lot of the same stuff that I have. I thought that they would develop different mindsets, but when I heard it, I'm like, no.
I do feel like women in Campbell have more empathy because we all kind of share the same like trauma, the same problem. That's why we have like more empathy, because we know how it feels like to have no power. And it's harder for men to kind of grasp that idea because they don't really have to go through it, so they don't really have that empathy. That's why I feel like it's easier for women to accept a gay person than men to accept. Yeah.
I can't say all men, because I do have a friend who did acknowledge that he had more privileges than his younger sister, and he does feel bad for her, but at the same time he doesn't know how he could help, because if you voice your opinion, it's just gonna get worse sometimes.
Yeah.
So all he could do is like help sneak her out here and there, do this and that for her, small little gestures.
Yeah, so, not all men, definitely not all men, but most men are, I'm sorry. Like
yeah, I feel you on that. Heck, even my dad sometimes, I don't get why he's so sexist. And I don't have the guts to call him out because
he's
talking
your dad.
back is like frowned upon here. Like, but I think I'm trying to find ways to prove through action instead of like trying to convince them. I've like had enough, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, how long are we aiming for this episode?
I think we can wrap it up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It was a good episode.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we'll wrap it up. So you can follow us on IG. It's little side note. And on Facebook's Little Side Note the podcast, and YouTube is Little Side Note the podcast as well. And our email is always open to any stories, anything really. It's littlesidenode@gmail.com, or you could like ask your friends to add us in Discord, or we'll probably put a link somewhere on our bio as well, hopefully. So yeah, you can come in and out, pop in and out, and then chat to us if you want to. But yeah, for now, the episode. Oh wait, actually. Oh, any advice to people?
I think it's just the generic one where take your time, don't feel too much pressure. Yes, other people are doing better than you in a sense, but what really is better? You need to find that, because you just honestly need to do better than yourself before. That's it.
Mine is also a generic one, like just be you, be yourself. If people talk trash you, it means that you're just better.
Okay, that's the thing though. There's like, it's such a blurry line between saying that you're right and acknowledging and understanding that you might be wrong, and then accepting that you need to change. So it's like, it's so blurry sometimes.
Yeah.
You know,
but
people might take it the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, just continue to be yourself.
Yeah.
Also, work on being a good person.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the end of the episode. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.